Ministers, members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen of the press. The goal of the 2011-2012 national budget is to win the future by resetting the dial. This government is taking advantage of the opportunity to make some changes. It's no longer business as usual. Let me first address the payroll tax. It was critically important in our 2010-2011 national budget that we demonstrate to key stakeholders evaluating the creditworthiness of Bermuda the government's ability to generate additional sources of revenue. Thus, the payroll tax increase was required last year, given our expenditure plans. Without it, we would have risked a ratings downgrade, which would have driven up the cost of borrowing in Bermuda and potentially damaged our reputation as an international business center. However, it was never the intent for such increases to be a permanent fixture of the tax structure. Accordingly, the standard rate of payroll tax is to be rolled back to 14% in 2011-12, an adjustment of 2 percentage points. There will be a similar adjustment of 2 percentage points for the majority of other rate categories. And you would have seen this morning that I tabled the amendment to the Payroll Tax Act when I finished the budget statement. While the salary cap in the payroll tax structure will remain at $750,000, the rate of tax recoverable from employees will be reduced from 5.75% to 5.25%. This was not an easy decision, given the government's soft revenue position, but it was certainly considered the best option for injecting some stimulus into Bermuda's economy. The economic impact of the payroll tax rollback will touch all sectors of the economy: hospitality, construction, retail, international business, and local manufacturing. The hope is that jobs will be retained and preserved, and that when businesses are stronger, more jobs will be created. The fiscal impact of the payroll tax cut will widen the deficit by a similar amount, but the overriding consideration is that businesses and workers need the assistance now to help them through the final stages of the recession. And this is the essence of resetting the dial to win the future. Now, as you can see, the two-pronged strategy focuses on fiscal restraint and job creation. By combining public spending reductions with payroll tax rollbacks and a longer-term structural transformation of the way we approach public sector financial planning in Bermuda, we're signaling a clear commitment to shared sacrifices today while repositioning the economy to grasp the opportunities for tomorrow. And our economy must increase its ability to absorb labor. To meet the labor challenge, the government is exploring incentives to benefit the job makers, individuals who are proposing or already demonstrating a significant presence in Bermuda are employing Bermudians and creating entry-level positions and opportunities for young Bermudians. Over time, Bermuda's hotels, restaurants, and businesses must absorb more labor. And we certainly need an effective, credible, long-term plan for our tourism industry, supported by an effective implementation plan. The relief from payroll tax for the hotel sector, as set out in the Memorandum of Understanding between the Bermuda Hotel Association and the Ministry of Finance, will be extended to March 31st, 2012. Additionally, the relief provisions of the reduced payroll tax rate for retail establishments during the month of January, February, and March will continue in 2011-2012. Customs duty relief measures on capital goods for a number of sectors, including the retail sector, will be extended beyond March 31st, 2011. And most other tax rates will remain unchanged, except for a minor change in the customs tariff and government fees, including an increase in cellular phone licenses. The payroll tax reductions that I've outlined will return approximately $50 million of spending power to taxpayers in 2011-2012. Now, also, what there was much speculation about, the 2011-2012 national budget proposes a $90 million reduction in current account spending compared to the 2010-2011 budget, and approximately $60 million reduction in capital expenditure, producing the promised cut of $150 million in total government spending. This will bring the 2011-2012 estimate of expenditure down to approximately $900 million on the current account and $84 million on the capital account. Now, even as we trim expenditures, we're continuing to manage resources in an effort to stimulate the economy and maintain our competitive edge. For instance, we're allocating $12 million to a variety of small projects, including building upgrades, school maintenance, and roadside works, in order to provide stimulus for small contractors and to create jobs. In keeping with our commitment to security and safety, we are investing $3 million for the completion of the X-ray scanner installation at the container port in Hamilton. The tendering and project management processes for major capital projects have been revamped to include enhanced governance measures. And these include a number of, I suppose, different elements which I set out in the budget this morning, but it's all about enhancing our processes. We certainly believe that the enhancement of the tendering procedures will help to restore trust and confidence in our public works and also help to save money. Now, on the income side, government anticipates gross revenues of $940 million for the financial year ending March 31st, 2012, and also during the municipal reform and modernization process, there will be a measure of revenue sharing with the Corporation of Hamilton and St. George. Total expenditure, excluding in the debt service of $70 million and capital investment of $84 million, in fact, including the debt service, will be $1.08 billion. And our borrowing requirement is estimated at $146.5 million. The sinking fund contribution will be $25.7 million, and this will raise the balance at the end of the financial year to $113 million, keeping Bermuda on track to reduce our debt by $210 million between 2014 and 2016. One of the aspects which is probably most exciting for me, particularly in the capacity as it being the first time as Premier and Minister of Finance, is the open budget process. And I signaled that is what is going to be coming going forward. And I believe that that is going to help to open up and make much more real and understandable to people budgeting. Because often people's eyes glaze over when you talk about budgets. Now you're going to see it become much more transparent, and there's going to be much more active engagement with the public. And it certainly will help to empower people by giving them more information about how the government conducts its spending decisions and how their taxes are being used. I think that certainly we have sought to keep it tight for ministers, but I thought it was important for me to give you the context, and I'm sure there'll be an opportunity to talk to you again with questions.